I'm Vicky, the author of my new book. It's all about feminine power. The absolute woman. That's what I call it. The absolute woman. I want to teach you how to become the absolute woman. This is my fragrance. The femme absolue. That's in French, the absolute woman. I have to explain. I started my career at 12 years old. My first thing was to sew dresses for my friends. I could sew, I got a sewing machine, and I wanted to have my own money. My parents were wealthy, they were okay, but they wouldn't let me have my own phone. I had to talk on the family phone. They had to overhear me with all the gossip. And I like boys, I like to talk about the boyfriends and the girls and how cute guys were. I didn't want them hearing all that. So I decided to have my own phone, and then I realized I could sell dresses, make skirts. I started with skirts, and I made some skirts, and I made some caftans, and I sold them. I was in a wealthy area, Chevy Chase, and so I had lots of customers, and by the time I was 14, I had a pretty good business. Then I went to fashion school, and I kept a business going in fashion school in my apartment in Greenwich Village, where I focused on leather and beading and suede. I made the handbags with the fringe. I would cut the fringe up and have it all hang down, put beads in there. That was the hippie period. I made skirts with cuts like that and put the beads in there. And how did I make money? Well, I charged everybody the top dollar. I made leather pants for men, had to fit the men. They had to take their clothes off and put, their boxer shorts on or whatever they were wearing, and I'd make their leather pants. Actually made leather pants for Joe Cocker. My boyfriend was a folk singer, and I made leather pants for him. And then I got to Paris, and we were backed, my partner and I were backed by Elizabeth Taylor, but we both put in half the money. So we had to come up with $20,000, and I had that money from sewing in Greenwich Village, and I had no problem to get it, and we owned our own shop. We also, at that point, sold our life story to Paramount Studios, 2 young girls from New York starting miniskirts and going to Paris, and they called us the Yay Yay Girls. So I got a big check for that, and I bought an apartment, and I started my way to being independent. My partner left me. She ran off with another man, and she was going to be a sculptress in California. So I was left alone in Paris, and I decided to not give up, but to get bigger. How am I going to get bigger? I didn't know. I went to banks, and banks said, no, you're a lady alone in a foreign country, no way. So I sold one dress, and I sold 10 dresses, and I sold 20 dresses, then I sold 50 dresses, and every time I sold the dresses, put the money in the bank, took out less than what I put in, and ended up with enough money to continue to stay in business. Eventually, I started doing some movies, and all the money I made from movies, I put into a bank account and saved it, and that's the money I used eventually to create a perfume. So every year, I would put so much in the bank and save it and create a perfume. But if I went to a bank and I was dressed like this with flowers and happy and pretty, nothing. Banks would not give me a penny. This is the 60s and the 70s. Eventually, a department store came along, and they wanted to carry my clothes. And they said, you have to make this collection. We're going to buy 30 dresses from you. You'll make them and you'll ship them to us. And when we wait 30 days to 60 days, we'll pay you. And that was cool. I could only make so many dresses. I couldn't make hundreds because I needed the money for the 30 dresses. But I ended up hiring this brilliant girl, Carmelita, and she created what I call the cherry deal. She went to Bergdorf Goodman, our main store, in 1982, and she asked them to do the cherry deal. She called it the cherry deal. What was it? The store became our bank. The store advanced us $50,000, $70,000, $100,000, and we could grow. So instead of selling 30 dresses, and then we could sell them 60 dresses, then we could make them 100 dresses. And when we sold them 100 dresses, we could make bridal dresses and couture dresses and stock, depth, like a 6, an 8, and a 10, and a 12, and it all stayed in the back room. We couldn't do that without a bank. And of course, lots of ladies, the names, go out there and they find a really, really rich husband. A really, really rich husband who's a millionaire. He's very busy, and he'll finance you. And so many people we know lately of the bad man that was financing the fashion company that was, very bad man. He was involved with seducing lots of women. Well, that didn't happen to me. One dress became 2 dresses, became 30 dresses, became hundreds of dresses, became thousands of dresses, always financed by the sale of another dress. That sale enabled me to snowball that until the Neiman Marcus came along and they gave me the money in advance. So I'd say, okay, you can have exclusivity. You have to give them something. You can have exclusivity. I'm only going to sell Neiman Marcus. I'm going to give up all the small stores around America that would carry my dresses. I'm only in Neiman's and Bergdorf's is their New York store. But please, at the beginning of the month, I need $75,000. And the next month, oh, I might need $100 because we're adding 4 bridal dresses this month. They give me the money in advance, and then we organize the amount in the end of the month to see what remains that's owed. But the stores financed me. So I came up with a magic way of paying for me without having to have a rich husband that I didn't really love but had buckets of money, or a bank, which you never can tell. The bank could one day go, they weren't really into financing women in the 60s and the 70s. Not at all. We had a bank called the Women's Bank. And that bank, it was in New York. We didn't have a women's bank in Paris where I was. But I never heard of anybody getting money out of, big money. I needed $100,000 every month. I didn't need $15,000 or $20,000. I needed $100,000 a month to make all the clothes I had to make for the stores. I mean, there's a lot of Neiman's that were all over America. I came up with another idea, and that was I would personally fly around the country and meet everybody, go to every single city and personally measure all the top ladies, measure them, speak with them, find out what they do, what their parties are, what they need, and become friends with them, give them advice about their diet, about their clothes, about their shoes, and I would know all the women that ran the country, so socially. So I went to 21 Neiman Marcuses between the 1980s, 90s, and 2000. 21. And I would have a morning meeting. The whole store would get together, and they'd stand there and talk to me, and I'd talk to them, and they'd say, Miss Teal, what's happening in Paris? And I'd say, everything's pink. It's all pink. Or no one's wearing anything but boots. You got to wear boots. Or the new skinny pant is in, the wild is gone. Or we're all into trench coats, so let's sell trench coats. Everybody's got their hair cut short. I'd give them a lowdown of what's happening in Paris and London, the 2 cities that I hung out in, Italy a little bit, but the cities I hung out the most. And I would go monthly. Every month I would go to a different Neiman Marcus, maybe 4 or 5 this month, and the next month 4 or 5, so that people would see me at least twice a year. A lady had balls and she had parties, and I did a lot of politics, for all the conventions and the people who were in television and the movies, and so they would know that I'd be coming to Neiman's at least twice, and I would be able to be with them. So I had to give something too. I had to travel like crazy, but I ended up with the cherry deal with getting them to finance me. So where I'm going is find an inventive way of financing yourself. You don't need a rich husband. You don't need a bank. You need product. You need incredible product, and you need incredible willpower and desire to work like crazy. Now, there are 2 types of people. There's workaholics and everybody else. Very few people are workaholics. My mom was a workaholic. She was a paintaholic. She'd get up in the morning and she'd paint and paint and paint and paint and go to sleep and paint and paint and paint. There's a lot of artists that are paintaholics or designaholics, writeaholics. But I'm a workaholic. I'm always gardening. I'm doing something creative, but I sleep maybe 6 hours, and I love to work. I'm always working. I hardly ever lie around and do nothing. I think that that's not productive. So having a workaholic nature, if you do have that, then you have a really good example of how to be. If you tell the bank, whoever you're getting your money from, now that banks do loan money, I am a workaholic. I work Saturday, I work Sunday, I work all the time. I am devoted to creating and making my company work. The other thing to be, besides a workaholic, is be fabulous. Being fabulous doesn't hurt. Having great style, being fun, being interesting, and being charming and being lovely. Being fabulous doesn't hurt. People do appreciate that you're fabulous and you're not, negative. So a happy personality, a workaholic, those are the 2 important things. And today, I don't know about college. I went to college, and they were trying to discourage me and Mia. They were telling us that we weren't any good. We were too wild and crazy, and that most people won't wear what we were designing. And they were wrong. I'm not so sure for artist college. I don't know. I think that the teachers are older, and they may not be what a 20-year-old is into when they're 40 and 50. They may not be following the youth. So for an artistic type of person, a creative person, college is okay, but it's not great. It's great for lawyers, the paperwork people. But for artists, I would recommend actually starting the art and making money off of it as soon as you can. 12 years old wasn't too early for me. So there you go. I hope that you have a positive attitude about your creations and what you want to do and what you want to be. The world's brand new. It's all different. We're going to be flying all over outer space. There's so many things to do that are futuristic and with machines, and that's for the 20-year-olds today. And getting money is something that you just have to learn to do, but do not ever partner yourself or get involved with people who you don't trust and who could paperwork-wise do you in. Find creative ways to make your own money and control it. And also, my dad told me the most important thing when I was young. He made a page for me. He was the IRS. We were from Washington, a line down the middle, and he wrote inside and the outside. The in column has to have more than the out column. You can do this weekly or you can do this monthly. You want to make your paper, you want to put a line down the middle, and you want to write in and out. The in column has to have much more than the out column. Every single month, you keep that paper and you verify that the in is more than the out. And there you go. Thank you. It's all about the dress. It's all about feminine power. I'm Vicky Teal, and I wrote The Absolute Woman. Bye.